What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Jay Rich, back to bring you your MLB props for July the 14th. I missed the day games today, wasn't really feeling them, but we're talking about the night games tonight. So I'm really excited. We got a good slate today. We got some great plays. Yesterday, I told you to stack Texas, Corey Seager, Marcus Semien. They did great. They played a great game. Freddie Freeman as well came through with 3 hits for the Dodgers. But unfortunately, Bobby Witt could not get it done. I don't know what's going on with Bobby Witt, but he couldn't get it done. And then Ty France as well, the under that I called, he did go under. And he did make the list again today because he's been struggling. So 4-5 yesterday, pretty good day overall. If you played, hopefully you guys did well, made some money. That's awesome. But let's get into plays for today because I got some great ones for you. So let's dive into it right now. We have Austin Riley, Juan Soto, Tommy Pham, Ty France, and Pete Alonso for unders. 2 guys I want to highlight really. Tommy Pham is just he's just here. I'm not going to talk about him a whole lot. No reason to. We've been playing Austin Riley. It's been working out. You know, early on when I was like, Austin Riley, he's been getting high. He's been playing well. He kept failing us. But recently, Austin Riley's been playing phenomenally. You see he's hit this 8 number in 7 of his last 10 games. Juan Soto's hit 7.5 in 9 of his last 10 games, including his last 7 games. Juan Soto is maybe one of the hottest hitters in baseball right now. He's got a hit in each of his last 7 games. He's got a home run in 4 of his last 5 games. Both these guys I would be locking into my lineups today. Both these guys I think are very worthy of plays on PrizePicks, and I would be playing them. Whether you want to power play them together, whether you want to add them with a few other guys. Tommy Pham is interesting. He's got such a low total, but he hasn't been scoring a ton of points. You see he's under 4.5 in 4 of his last 5 games. He'd have the 15 game, which is fine. But overall, I mean, we're looking at a guy who's just not performing very well. Nestor Cortez, though, is struggling, right? He's a guy who started off super hot, very difficult to hit. Now teams have kind of caught on to him. They figured out how to beat him, and he's been struggling overall. But we know the Yankees will probably lift him up and get a win, but we'll see what happens today. They are up against Luis Castillo. And then I was talking about unders for Ty France. Ty France, man, since he came back, he has not hit this 6.5 number even once. The most he's put up is 5 fantasy score on PrizePicks. He's been really struggling. Again, 0 in his last 10, but really it's 0 in his last 5 games. He's coming back from injury. I mean, I'd be willing to take the under again. At some point, he's got to get it done, and Martin Perez is not a bad pitcher by any means. He's a guy who's been neutral from my scoring standards and what PrizePicks uses as their scoring standards, but I mean, at the end of the day, like, he's a above average pitcher. He's one of the best pitchers that Texas has. We'll see what happens. But France, even though this win streak for Seattle has been great, they've been playing really well, he has not quite got it going yet. Maybe it's a game that he gets going, but 2 points over his last 7 days is not very good. Not one I want to bet on. And then as well, Pete Alonso up against Keegan Thompson today. The Cubs, you look at the Cubs, you're like, the Cubs stink. They're terrible. Now, that is true of their bullpen. But Keegan Thompson has been playing surprisingly well. And so if you did want to take an under on Pete Alonso, Keegan Thompson is a guy that can probably take advantage of it. You see this pitch value factor is negative 3.4 in favor of Keegan Thompson because he's been doing a lot of damage with his fastball. He's been playing really, really well. And overall, I think he's one of the few pitchers for the Cubs that has been surprisingly good. And you can see here, even over his last 14 days, Pete Alonso's only averaging 4.92 fantasy score and 4.71 over his last 7 days. So he's been struggling as well, but he has been doing okay from an extra base hits perspective. He's been hitting some home runs, but less than a hit per game and 1.3 total bases per game is just not going to get it done. Where you look at Austin Riley, who's averaging 1.86 hits per game, 3.71 total bases per game, and Juan Soto 1.18 hits per game and 2.64 total bases per game with a massive P-Val factor up against Kyle Wright. I don't know if I can do it. Again, Pete Alonso with an 8.5. I want to take the under. I still think I'd probably lean France, but there are other plays out there. Now, I obviously don't run all of them through the model, but one I really did like is Julio Rodriguez runs or RBIs over 0.5. And the main reason why I like it is Julio Rodriguez on the books right now, just to score a run is minus 120. To get an RBI, depending on the book you're looking at, he's plus 155. So you think about combining those two together, he's scored a run or RBI, I believe is 7. He's scored a run in 7 of his last 10 games. Some of those games he hits a home run, so he gets both of them in the same game. But again, a guy that's going to bat early in the lineup, he can get a steal. Guys are going to be trying to drive him in. He scores a ton of runs. He's already favored from a probability perspective to score a run, so you're already getting a natural edge there. So if you did want to play that one, I did like that line. And then the 2 strikeout lines that I like, but again, they're super high. Carlos Rodon and Corbin Burnes should be just a K-fest. Yesterday, we saw Shohei Ohtani and Christian Javier just go bananas on both sides. 22 strikeouts between the two of them. I think it could be a similar game today with Carlos Rodon and Corbin Burnes. I would probably stick with Juan Soto and Austin Riley. If you want to play an under, don't hate it. But again, if you want to put in Julio Rodriguez or you want to go after Corbin Burnes or Carlos Rodon, love both of them. I don't know which one I prefer. I mean, some people prefer Rodon, some people prefer Burnes. Both are in great spots. I believe from an actual edge perspective, the best value is in Burnes right now. Burnes has the highest or the lowest number. I believe they're both still at 7.5 on the books, but Burnes is the one that has a slightly higher probability to go over. So if you wanted to pick one, Burnes may be the guy. That cutter is disgusting, so that's the reason why. And as well, the San Francisco Giants are not very good, so I don't hate it. I don't mind either plays, and I know people like to talk about those strikeouts, so those are two. If you did want to take them, they are all the way up at 8, but these are guys that are literally favored to get there. So in a lot of ways, getting to 8 should be the milestone, and can they get past it? Absolutely, like we saw with Ohtani and with Christian Javier yesterday. So again, from a hitter's perspective, you're looking at Austin Riley, Juan Soto. I don't mind a France under or a Pete Alonso under. Pham, I'm probably just staying away from. He's only here because he made it in the projection system, and I wanted to show him to you guys, but I probably wouldn't be playing him. He's got a shot, super low total, 4.5. But again, I'd probably go after Rodon. I'd go after Burnes for an over on those strikeouts. Or if you want that Julio Rodriguez runs plus RBI, that's a very favorable number for anyone on PrizePicks. So those are kind of the guys I'm looking at right now. Those are the ones I'd be taking. And as always, drop me a like and subscribe for future content. If you like what I do for you guys, I try to provide as much analysis as possible so you guys have the best information to make a decision. But for my money, Austin Riley, Juan Soto, power play those two guys together. If you want to then mix and match a Ty France or a Pete Alonso, I would probably roll with France because France has still been struggling. But I do like, if you want to throw in Julio Rodriguez as well, a guy that, you know, he's the #1 favorite player to hit a bomb for Seattle, -120 to score a run. You only need him to get one of the run or the RBI. Martin Perez is a great pitcher, but again, I think that he can probably get it done for you. So I don't mind putting it in that over as well. And like I mentioned, if you're a strikeouts guy, Rodon and Burnes, I think they're the two best values on the board. And then Framber Valdez at over 6.5 is also very good. A lot of ones that people are laddering up to 8 to 9 to 10. And so for me, that's kind of where I'd be leaning. But as always, if you tail, give them hell. And if we fail, do not bail. I'll be back tomorrow with more MLB picks. Maybe I'll talk some more strikeouts, some total bases. You know, I like to stick with the fantasy score, but I'm starting to venture out a little bit, give you guys a little taste of everything, because I do bet everything, but I'm trying to keep it as linear as possible. So we're focused, talking about the same things every day, focusing on the same things every day, and looking at these matchups on a consistent basis from a similar perspective. But overall, hope you guys win some money tonight. Have a great night, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. I'm out. Peace.